Good evening. My name is Elena Utterback. I am a registered nurse at Giles Hospital on Med-Surg. Today I have chosen the topic of gun control. The reason I have chosen this topic is because I 100% agree with safety, but as a girl, 23 years old, I carry a gun with me everywhere I go. I support concealed weapon permits and gun control laws. The reason why this is such a big interest to me is because I have been in a situation that I felt comfortable and glad that I had a concealed weapon. So the issue that I have brought to your attention is that I agree and support gun control. The situation that I have been in was on July 4th at Broadway at the beach with my fiance's family. This was an issue that I did not want to be in, but it happened. We were watching fireworks, and as the fireworks were going on, all of a sudden, a crowd of people came running towards us, yelling, "There's a shooting, shots fired, that he has a gun." So not knowing anything to do, my fiance took me by my head towards the ground and turned me as fast as he could, and we ran. Luckily, I felt safe. I was sad. I didn't know what to feel like, how to feel like, as in my parents wasn't with me. My family wasn't with me. But I was with my fiance's family, and I felt safe because my fiance had a concealed weapon on him, as did my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. So I felt safe because some people around us, if there was a gun involved, may not have had the opportunity to protect themselves, but we did. We could fought, limited, and may not have been able to help enough, but we would have been able to fight and have some secure and safety. So today my attention brings us to this. Do you support or are you against gun control and gun safety? So as we look into healthcare, today my topic is going to be on healthcare, but also not on healthcare. But first we're going to talk about healthcare. So when I've looked on topics about healthcare and gun control safety, everybody veers away from it. Nobody wants to talk about it. And in 2019, there was an article of physicians from Ontario, Canada, stating that surgeons and physicians that advocate for guns and control are unprofessional behaviors. Surgeons and physicians that have gunshot wounds, patients that have gunshot wounds, should not be able to educate their patients on gun safety. So when they are taking care of a patient, they should be able to treat and educate, because education is our number one thing in nursing. In a hospital, a doctor, anybody taking care of a patient, basic patient education is number one. So for nurses, doctors, physicians, surgeons, everybody, they should be able to educate their patient. But due to this article states that is unprofessional behavior. They have argued, for example, that such advocacy will lead to children being shot by police coming to raid homes and gun owners. Physicians are not qualified to discuss the harms of guns, therefore physicians' advocacy for gun control is unethical, which is not right. Patient education. They should be able to educate their patient. According to this article, it states that patients felt that they felt like physicians was evading their privacy for asking if they had a gun close to them, and this could also be suicide precautions in riskful patients. So if they're at risk for a suicide, patients and doctors are unable to ask their patients if they have a gun. So they felt that it was not okay and that it was invading their privacy. So according to the CDC, they shut down that behavior, stating it was not okay for physicians to ask if guns were involved, if they were near. So the next thing I would come to is pros and cons against gun behavior. So one, for pros, I think it's safety. Safety is the number one thing. So pros against guns is if you have an issue. Me being a young girl going into a store, I feel safer. For trafficking, anything else, domestic disputes, you feel safer. But we can also go against it. Go against it by guns being put into hands that shouldn't have guns and shouldn't have concealed weapons. This could be mental illnesses, which state if you do have a mental illness, you should see a psychiatrist and you should have to go through the police enforcement to be evaluated before you can have a gun. The Texas shooting, also the Florida shooting, was a guy and was a man with mental disabilities that shot up the school. Therefore, how did he get a gun in his hand? That's a con. That's a con. So mental disabilities is the number one thing that we should monitor for. Background checks is a must before you can have a concealed weapons permit. Guns prohibited areas. Federal government buildings, state capitol complexes, jails, detention centers, correction offices, courthouses, and school facilities. To me, I think teachers that have concealed weapons permit that go through the proper training should be able to carry on campus. Because where are most shootings? They're on school property of students, family members that get in domestic disputes, arguments. They don't agree that is right or wrong that their kid got in trouble. Bullying has happened and kids are coming in to shoot up the school. Therefore, I think that some teachers, if all teachers, go through the proper training to have the concealed weapons permit and also go through proper training at the school for gun control, gun safety, and if a shooting would happen. So I voice my opinion to say I think it is right for teachers to have a concealed weapons permit and carry, because if there is only one security guard that has a gun on campus and someone comes in to shoot the school up, that is one-on-one, and what if they are not there? What if they are not in the right area? You have many dead. People that are not allowed to carry, that are not able to have a concealed weapons permit. They do not qualify. This can be addicted to illicit drugs, alcohol use, a felon, mentally incompetent, is an illegal personnel of the United States, so you must be a citizen of the United States, subject to domestic violence. So I also agree that there is differences, but there also is state coordinates stating that we should go by state to state. As in West Virginia, you don't have to be 21 years old. You can be 18 years old, but you have to go through the proper course for a concealed weapons permit. But that's not Virginia. So you cross the line, there's all differences. So as I end my speech today, I'm going to state the healthcare publication stat reports 75% of major injuries resulting from workplace assaults in 2013 were sustained by workers in the field of healthcare and social workers. Therefore, 75%, let me say that again, 75% of major injuries resulting from worse workplace assaults in 2013 was healthcare workers and social workers. Not all patients are happy with how they're cared for, especially from a social worker. They don't always agree. So in my opinion, I think we should voice and support gun control in healthcare.